Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's Most Elite podcast, and we got another big one. We got another list episode. Uh, I know last week I promised they finished to do Resident Evil, and I have recorded more stuff for it. I just have to upload it. Uh, I don't know why I said last week. I should have said last time because it was 3 weeks ago. Right after I did that Resident Evil upload and the other video upload. I did two in the same day because it was a while. I'll probably do the same today. But right after I did those videos, the nation sort of erupted into protest against police brutality. And as anyone who watches this channel knows, I am of the brown variety. So that sort of took over my life for a little bit, just focusing on the news and focusing on what's happening across all of America. It's really heartening to see. So I start every episode like this, and I have to be better about that. So I'm going to apologize to everybody who waits for these, especially my dad, because my dad really waits for these. He's my biggest fan. I love my old man for that. So I apologize for not releasing the video sooner. I'm going to be better about that in the future. Just random. The world is so crazy. Random events keep happening, derailing everything I do. It's actually really, really insane. And I didn't want to seem like callous or selfish by just releasing another video right after like the world was actually finally talking about something important, like finally talking about something very important. So I didn't want to just be like talking about games and shit while like the rest of the world finally caught up to what a lot of communities have been saying for many years, that this is out of hand and it needs to be curtailed. So I didn't release any videos because of that. So now I'm back. It's been some time. I've had a lot of time to digest everything and everything that's happened since that's still happening. So we're back on the train. We're back on the game train. The GT, as I call it. Speaking of GT, let's kick it off. This episode is about the PlayStation reveal event. I know a lot of people already got their content out on YouTube. Everybody you probably follow. I'm not going to shout anyone out because they'll never shout me out. But just know a lot of your favorite content creators already have their videos up. I'm late because I was busy caring about things. And normally that's not my style, so I had to deal with that. So here we are. GT, Game Train. Gran Turismo 7 was one of the games announced. We're doing a list episode, folks. I know I don't like them so much, but I got a lot of feedback from people who say, man, we like the list episodes. So here we are. List episode. Started the list. Gran Turismo 7 because GT reminded me of it. Now, I was not surprised to see a Gran Turismo 7 or a Gran Turismo, regardless of the number or title that they would have labeled it with, because I feel like PlayStation always releases a Gran Turismo when they release a new console, or at least it's a release window. There's some sort of racing game that's a release window, and normally it's GT. So, it looks beautiful. I think to fully experience that game, honestly, I think to fully experience any of the games they showed, or any game on PS5 in general, you're going to take advantage of that 3D audio. And I do think that 3D audio, like, for those who don't know, the uninitiated, 3D audio is exactly how it sounds. Three-dimensional audio, meaning sound is coming from every single direction in three-dimensional space. You ever been to a movie or an IMAX theater and they have, like, it sounds like something on the screen is directly behind you or touching your shoulder? That is 3D audio in the simplest terms that I can explain it. It's awesome. And the fact that Sony wants to do every game like that is amazing. Just think of what that means. Think you're playing Resident Evil 8, for instance, which was also announced at the PlayStation event. Just imagine you're playing Resident Evil 8 and one of the new baddies or whatever creatures is there and you see it on the screen. Imagine it's one of the werewolves that they showed in the trailer. Now imagine for a moment you see it on the screen, it growls at you and you hear the growl and it comes directly from the source located on the screen, the werewolf, right? And then it runs out of view, right? And you're left with your pistol or whatever you're wielding and your heavy breathing, because you know heavy breathing is going to be there. All the first person games, the good ones, include all of them. They all include that. So you're left with your heavy breathing. You have a source of sound. You have a reference point for what you just saw. And it runs out of view and it's through a tree. And you hear branches crack because you're in like a forest and there's a castle. And you hear twigs snapping off in the distance. And you actually hear it off in the distance. You hear it escape you, right? Like the sound is being thrown at 3D space is being moved around, that it is far away, even though you just heard it out loud and you hear your breathing up close, right? That's immersive. But then you hear it growling just behind your ear. And the way that the 3D audio should work is it actually sounds like it's just behind your ear. I don't know about you, dear listeners, but I would shit my pants. I would pause the game, because it is a video game, right? I would pause the game. I do believe they're going to have a PSVR 2. If they do, that game's a shoe-in. I mean, Resident Evil 7 in VR is horrifying. So if 8 and 3D audio and you're actually seeing everything with a headset, I take the headset off calmly, make myself a cup of coffee, take a single sip of the coffee, and run screaming into the night, because that is terrifying. It's terrifying. Just imagine that. So big ups to Sony for having the care to, I'm talking about it like they already did it. I know that's going to be a thing. 3D audio, the way you can implement that in so many ways, like there's a lot you can do with that. And if it's every game, like they say, it's going to be a game changer. You're not going to want to play video games any other way. Even the PC guys can appreciate. Like, I'm a PC guy. I do the show on a PC. I was playing PC all like last week, and I get the consoles because they have some games that the PC just doesn't get, unless it's an Xbox thing. In which case, Microsoft, it's translated. So I talked to a Microsoft rep, and he told me that if you play games on PC, they count you as an Xbox customer. So technically, I'm also an Xbox customer. And I've talked about this on the channel before. I did the Big 3 episode. You should go and watch it. Like, if it sounds like I'm sucking Sony's dick or whatever, I know how some people like to be like, oh, console wars. Console wars aren't real, everybody. You play on what you love. You play what you love. And if you're having fun, then you won the console war. You did it. You're the king for the day or the week or however long the game makes you feel like you're having a good time. That's all games are. They're a distraction. And they're art too. Art is a distraction. The reason we go to movies or go to museums or play video games is they make us feel something in our day to day. And whatever it makes you feel is a good thing. So there are no console wars. And I said that in my last, the Big 3 episode. I talk about how I'm excited for all 3 systems this generation. I know Microsoft has something sneaky up its sleeve, and I said that before. So while the PS5 reveal does show it shows a lot of games. Sorry about that, I had my headset on. But it shows a lot of games, and it does show off some of the tech. And they did the technical deep dive episode, which I thought was, it was interesting. It gave you an idea of what the system is capable of doing. I know, and I said this in the last episode, not the last episode, but the Big 3 episode as well. Microsoft will have the more powerful system. They make computers. I mean, honestly, they make computers. So yeah, it'll be stronger, obviously. But I also said that I hope they have a powerful lineup of exclusives. Microsoft, last generation, dropped the ball. They know they did in terms of game releases. They did everything else right. The Xbox One X is a marvel. It's a technical marvel. And I honestly think that the console wars, quote unquote, they're starting at the same starting point, but they're going in different directions. It's like, I've been saying this for a while now to a couple of my buddies. Mostly gaming. I've been talking to him a lot, and he's been I've been telling him hey, look, Microsoft just wants to make affordable computers. I think that's what they're doing. So the next Xbox, the Series X, it is a computer. It's even shaped like a computer tower. They just want to make affordable computers for everybody to have in a house. And that's a fair goal. They don't have the same goals as Sony. Sony makes TVs. They did Walkmans, they make music players. Sony's like a tech it's a tech company at its core, but they branch out, they make cell phones. Xperia is a great phone. And the PlayStation is sort of like an auxiliary department, believe it or not. They make a lot of money from the PlayStation department. So now they're sort of giving it its due process. Because before, they made a lot of money in the beginning and everything, but this money in the 90s, early 2000s, and then with the failure of PS3, it was and then they did PS4, and it was a huge success. I mean, money translates to thought. And since PS4 made so much money and did so well, some of the higher ups of Sony was all right, put more money into the next one. And that's how companies work. That's how everything in business works. If something is successful, put more money into the next one, and hopefully it's as successful and doubles our profit. That's just what it is. So, you know, I'm not this. I don't want this. This is a PlayStation Center episode, but I have to talk about the other ones. And I can't forget Nintendo. They just announced Pokemon Snap, which they should have announced. Like, I feel like Pokemon Snap should have been a launch game for the Switch. It's the perfect machine. It's shaped like a fucking tablet camera. You can walk around your neighborhood or whatever you want, playing it, taking goddamn pictures. That's perfect. They should, honestly, I think they should have done it as a cell phone game, like they did the AR reality, like Pokemon Go, where you see Pokemon in the world and just take fucking pictures. I thought they would go that route. I mean, it's cool that it's on the Switch. I guess it'll make more money. But I truly thought that they would go the way of the cell. But what do I know? I don't work at Nintendo. It'd be pretty interesting to take a tour of the facilities one day. Maybe I'll set that up. But back to PS5, big reveal event, man. Microsoft did at their reveal, they had this cool narration. And it was showing like the ocean and a bunch of games. And then it ended with the Xbox Series X. I watched that trailer quite a few times. It's a very, very good trailer. Sony did one that was much shorter, it's like a minute. And it has Drake talking to his brother. And it's very inspirational. And it's really nice. It's also a really nice trailer. I was like, man, that's sort of like the Xbox trailer. Much shorter, but it is like the Xbox trailer. You know? And so they had a huge event. Opened with a sick trailer. Opened with Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to the PS5. I can't say I'm not surprised. Yeah, I thought for sure that they would announce either a new Rockstar game or they would just announce 6, even if it was just like a title card, even if it was just Grand Theft Auto 6 and then that was it, nothing else, and it just at the bottom it would say like more coming soon. That the fact that they're putting 5 on the PS5, improved and enhanced in quotations, I have no idea what that means. I don't think anyone does at this point, but it means that it's still making buttloads of money. That's all that means. It means that it's still pulling in dollars that it shouldn't be pulling in for a game that came out in 2013. So because of that, it's going to go to the next system instead of just announcing the next one. Honestly, with the success of 5, I have no idea how they're even going to make another one. Honestly, I mean, I'm sure they will. It's just a lot of money to be had in a new game release. But really, 5 is so goddamn successful that I feel like they would be like intimidated. They would be nervous to make a new Grand Theft Auto, because why would you? 5 made over $6 billion. That makes it the most successful entertainment product ever made. Movies, books, everything that entertains you, it made more money than that. Yeah, that's tall shoes, that's tall boots attached to big feet, attached to long legs to fill. Even by the company that did it. So, yeah, I don't know. I get it. I get putting 5 on there. I really do. But it's weird. It is a little weird to not see at least a title card for 6. Nintendo, when they announced Metro Prime 4, they gave us a title card. We haven't seen anything since, but we know it's being made and they gave us the title card. Same thing for Elder Scrolls 6. We got the title card and some lush greenery, some hills somewhere in that universe. And that's going to hold everyone over until they show more gameplay, which will be whenever it is. It was definitely weird that we didn't get more than that. Hold on a moment. I have to take this call really quickly. Sorry for that break. For you, it was a moment, but it was quite a while for me. Had some business outside of the curtain here to take care of. But yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto, at least I think that's where I was. Was I at Grand Theft Auto? It doesn't surprise me that Grand Theft Auto is on the PlayStation 5. Well, it does surprise me, but it doesn't. That's what I'll end that on. Moving on to the next game in the show that I'm going to talk about. Horizon Forbidden West. Now, Horizon was a smash-out hit for the PS4. It's one of its most iconic exclusives for a lot of good reasons. For one, it's a very good game. For two, it has a very, very well-done story, and the protagonist is likable. and she feels real, and she's awesome. It's a lot more than that, but it was a stellar game. If you haven't played it, go and play it. It still holds up. All the graphics are beautiful. Everything about that game is amazing. It's an amazing game. So obviously we knew it would get a sequel. We just didn't know when. I'm still thinking April next year, or May, or sometime in the summer. That's what I think, and I think that's when. I'm sure we'll learn more about it as it gets closer to launch, which I guess we can safely assume is in November. Holiday normally means for the big companies November onward. Normally, I think only the PlayStation 1 launched in October. I think. I can't be sure. I might be wrong. I'm not like an analyst. But I do think the PlayStation 1 is the only system to launch in October, and I think that was the last time any system did that. I think after they all swapped to November. I honestly don't know the reason. Maybe because Christmas is so close, maybe Black Friday. I honestly couldn't tell you. I'm not an analyst. But I do think November, we can safely assume we will have both the PlayStation and the Xbox in our hands. Let's talk about the design of the PlayStation really quickly before we move into the next game. Horizon, there's not much shown. They just showed a cinematic trailer, so I can't really talk about it as much as I did Grand Theft Auto. From the cinematic trailer, we know there's going to be... You're not in the area of the first game, so we're not talking reused assets. We're talking new assets. New game. New 3D audio sound. I can't actually wait to dive underwater and hear the little fucking electronic humming of the animals in 3D audio. That's the biggest thing for me. The haptic controller, whatever. That's going to be cool, I guess. Haptics is cool. I mean, if anybody's seen Ready Player One, that little suit he wears is a haptic suit, meaning it registers all your senses. And a controller doing that to your hands might be something stellar. I got to get it in my hands to actually really speak on it. Let's talk about the design. Well, let's talk about that design, right? Now, the Xbox Series X looks like a computer tower. Nothing wrong with that. I like the design of the Xbox Series X. I think it looks pretty awesome because I have a computer. It looks like a computer tower. It's really cool. The fact that they just did that shows to me that the guys over at Microsoft, they just like, man, whatever. Let's be bold. And it is bold to make a gaming console, which has traditionally been horizontal. All of them look like a goddamn computer tower. That's bold. That's saying, fuck it, am I right? That's like taking a hit of the bong and like, I have an idea, and just running with it. That's what that's like. And I respect that decision. I think it looks sick. PlayStation 5 also looks awesome. It has like this curvature in the front. It can also be laid horizontally as they displayed today, to date the episode. They showed that you can lay it down. It looks better standing up. I will say that. Laying it down looks really weird. The disc drive is on the bottom. I think it looks better standing up, like a tower would. And I know all the jokes. Oh, it looks like a computer monitor. I'm like, the fucking Xbox looks like a computer tower. I mean, it looks like a router. It looks like a fucking tower, the Xbox. Come on. Like, I know some of it's in good fun, but I know there are a few of us in the gaming community who still like to believe in fairy tales. Like, the games are against each other. Like, these things aren't just made for everyone to enjoy and love. Like, I know there's still some immature people out there who believe that one is better, quote unquote, than the other. I work at a gaming retailer. Well, not since the pandemic, but I work at a gaming retailer. I won't say which one because I don't want to get sued. I've made that joke many, many times, but I'm serious. I can't really talk about it publicly. Just know that there aren't many gaming retailers in the world. Use your imagination. And I would have customers come to me all the time and say, well, which is better, the Xbox or the PlayStation? And my answer always, without fail, was, well, what do you mean by better? Because they both have something valuable to offer. And they would say, well, I was like, if you want, and I would follow it up with, if you want a system with tons of exclusives, you should buy the PlayStation. If you want a system that has tons of key features like video, side by side, and things like that, or if you're going to use it, if you have a family and you're going to use it strictly for streaming and maybe browsing, buy the Xbox. Because it's a fucking computer. The Xbox has been turning into a computer for years now. Even the original one had, like, the Xbox Live and all that. Dreamcast had a fucking online service. But the Xbox has been turning into a computer. And the reason I mentioned Dreamcast is because I used to have this thing where I was like, the original Xbox is just Dreamcast remade. It's just the Dreamcast. I always felt that way. I still feel that way. That Xbox, the original, was just an upgraded Dreamcast. And Dreamcast was super ahead of its time. Had it come out the year Xbox came out, it would have been super successful. Regardless. I'll do a video on that later. But Yeah. So, but there are still some people out there, not like just ignorant customers who don't know better, but like people who genuinely believe that like this is better and fuck anybody who likes the new stuff. And I'm like the likes the other stuff. You know, the Xbox, fuck the PlayStation. There's people I know personally who are like fuck PS4. I'm like, why? Why would you say that? It sold over like what, 115 million units. That means a lot of people really love it. Fuck them. Just fuck their enjoyment. I mean, I don't get it. I own all the systems. You know, I know a lot of people who do. The Xbox, as I said in many videos, just doesn't have the exclusives, and I know that's not going to continue this year. Xbox bought like a billion studios. I know it's going to have tons of games. Now, will it be exclusive to the Series X? Probably not. Microsoft, they already said they count you an Xbox player if you play on your PC. I know those games are also coming to the PC. If you have a PC, you're probably just going to buy them on the PC. That's fine. If you don't, the Series X is an affordable alternative to a high-end gaming PC with the same brand you love. You have your Halo and your Gears of War. I don't understand how we're still, all these years later, console war and picking a side. That's so tribalistic, you know, and it ruins art, I think. Sorry to go on a rant there. I just get so worked up about, like, people doing that because it doesn't make sense. Did you have fun? Yes. Awesome time. Did you have fun? No. Play a different game. That's all. That's the conversation. That should always be the conversation. And if you can go into in depth if you want about why you didn't have fun, like I do on this channel. I do that a lot. Like I don't like God of War on PlayStation 4. I don't like it at all. A lot of people love it. I don't. But if you go watch my video, I list specific reasons why I don't like it. That doesn't mean it doesn't have value. It just means I don't like it. You know what I mean? And people need to start making that distinction with the consoles as well. The consoles and us deserve better. A lot of people worked really hard on both of these machines, and it's going to bring a lot of happiness to a lot of people. A lot of kids are going to get it on Christmas. They're going to open up the little Christmas wrappings and shit that their parents braved a pandemic to go and get just to make it special for them. Don't shit all over that because you think this is better than this. That's nonsense. You know? Back to the design of the PlayStation. Sorry about the rant. It looks like a goddamn dolphin. It looks like a sideways smiling dolphin. Like it looks super cool. And I'm crazy excited, you know, to play the PlayStation. I cannot wait, man. I'm going to get Last of Us in a few days. I'm going to get Ghost of Tsushima. I'm going to play them. You know, they're sort of the swan song. And then in September, the Avengers. I'm buying the Avengers. I don't care. What do I care? That shit's going to be fire. And then the big one at the end of the year, Cyberpunk. You know? PlayStation has so much more to give in this generation. It's kind of weird to be talking about the next generation because there's just so much still coming. But we're talking about the next generation because that's the biggest thing that happened, and it's fucking going to be awesome. Marvel Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Now, going back to the opening of this video, I have to preface this. It was a 1 minute and 30-second teaser for Spider-Man, right? But I have to preface this for a moment. Going back to the opening of this video, talking about the nation having an important conversation. And that conversation is about Black lives, right? Now, being a Black guy in America is tough. Being a Black guy anywhere in the world is tough. I'm going to be honest with you, listeners. When I knew it was Miles, like when his armor was ripping off and he had brown skin, right? I was like, oh, it's Miles. He's finally getting a game. That's awesome. I've been reading comics my whole life. I love comic books. When he took off the mask and he was standing there and he was Miles, but he was fucking Spider-Man, and I've seen him forever. It hit me so hard that I almost cried. And the reason I almost cried is because with the conversation that's happening nationwide right now about Black people mattering, just our lives having value, seeing and knowing, not just seeing, but knowing that a lot of people, millions even, will probably pick that game up and get to be a superhero who has Black skin, it meant so much to me. And I am so excited to play Marvel Spider-Man. I cannot even express to you how excited I am to run around wherever. I don't even know what city they're going to put him in. Probably New York. Probably some reused assets. I don't even give a fuck. They can like carbon copy the exact map from Spider-Man and throw me in it as Miles, and I'll have the time of my fucking life. Again, this is going to be a game with the 3D audio. I got to bring it up. I think honestly, I think this game is where the controller will really come into play. I do believe that the contextual vibration Like imagine running along a wall, like a wall running as Spider-Man, and having only the left side of your controller rumble as each step you take until you jump off, and then both sides sort of bloom like a bloom vibration. Oh my god. Oh my god. Just thinking about that is mind blowing. That game is probably going to. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know much about it. I know it's probably just going to be Spider-Man, right? But with the new features of the system and the new powers, Miles can turn invisible. Miles has electric shocks. Like, excuse me. There's going to be so much to offer that to utilize with the PlayStation 5's hardware with that game. It would not shock me that a game that comes out this year, it's a launch game, everybody. That's launching with the game. Holiday 2020. You know what that means. It's packaged with the system. I know there is a Spider-Man system. There's one specifically for Spider-Man. So it wouldn't surprise me if that game launching this year would be eligible for Game of the Year next year. That's how much I believe that game will take advantage of everything that the PlayStation has to offer. Same thing for Horizon, but that's launching next year, so that's already in the conversation for Game of the Year next year. My show's running a little long today. It's a lot of games. I mean, it's a lot of games. I'm only going to talk about I've talked about a couple. Ratchet and Clank. Have to give a quick shout out to Ratchet and Clank. Oh my God, Ratchet and Clank, dude. When they did the Ratchet and Clank movie, I think 2014. I don't remember when. And then they remade the first game to sort of fit the movie's narrative, but it was still the first game. I was like, man, I love that PlayStation hasn't given up on Ratchet. He's one of their original icons. The fact that they're giving him a new game, and it's like teleporting through dimensions. There's a gender bent him, like a female Wombax. I thought he was the only one. That's so exciting. I can't wait to experience that story. I will say this, though. Seeing Ratchet back in all his glory again after all these years, a guy gets to thinking, where's Sly Cooper? Where is Jack and Daxter? Where are those characters? I know that they're somewhere in a Sony vault. Please bring them out and share them with the world. I kind of want to play a Sly again. I kind of like Jack and Daxter. Where are those characters? You know what I mean? I'm happy that Ratchet is still getting love after all these years. I love Ratchet and Clank. Very good series. All the games are amazing. I want the other icons to come out of the vault. Before I end the show here, we're moving on to... Oh, this is probably a super big one for me. Returnal, which is just the fusion of the word eternal and return. Returnal? I don't know. I did an entire video. I don't know how many people know what a roguelike is, but I did a whole video on them. Go and watch it. I did it on the Enter the Gungeon. Returnal looks like PS5 Enter the Gungeon. That is an instant buy for me. There is zero questions that I'm buying it day one, special edition, collector's edition, whatever the case. It's a fucking AAA roguelike game. With, and I can't mention this enough, PlayStation has shown me in their reveals that either they hired a more diverse team over in America and Asia or whatever, or they hired a more diverse team. They couldn't have done anything but that, because they're showing me that diversity is their superpower here. Because obviously Miles, Aloy, a woman, Project Athea, a black woman, Returnal, an older white woman. I cannot think of a game where an older white woman is the main character, with the exception of Watch Dogs 3, where you can play as anyone. You can play as even an old granny, which is awesome. But in that game, you play as anyone. Everyone you inhabit in that game is the main character. In this game, the main character, the only character you get to experience the story through their eyes, is an older white woman. Dude, that's hilarious to me, because I can't think of a game where that's the case, aside of like indie titles where it's a horror game, it's first person, you don't see them. You're going to see her, you're going to hear her, you're going to interact with her. Same thing for Project Athea, same thing for Spider-Man, same thing for Horizon, same thing for Kina, which looks amazing. You're a young Asian woman. Fire. I look, this episode has been like diversity heavy for me because of what's been happening in the world, but that really, really means a lot to me, that all of these people are coming together to create experiences that show other people being super, being better. That's what video games are for. That's what movies are for. That's what books should be for, to inspire us to be better than what we are. And I think the PlayStation 5's reveal, in a weird way, sort of captured that. Like, this one will be better than the 4, for sure. It just has more to offer. And I'm hoping with the small lineup they showed us weird shit like bug snacks. What the hell was that? It looks fucking crazy. And like, I'm laughing because it looks crazy as hell. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play Astro's Playroom. I'm gonna play the Little Big Planet spinoff, Sackboy's Big Adventure. I'm gonna play those games. They look really fun. I don't know. I mean, this episode's crazy long, but I'll end it by saying like, my excitement has not diminished for the next generation of consoles. With every new thing that Xbox and PlayStation announces, I get more excited. I cannot wait for these games to be real, to hold them in my hands, to share my experiences with my friends, to share my experiences with you guys about the stories. Like my Red Dead episode, I just tell a story about how I experienced a crazy story in the game. Go watch that episode if you haven't. I can't wait to do that again with these new games. I mean, it's going to be amazing. And I hope you guys enjoyed me ranting today about multiple things. Tried to keep it on topic about the games. I do apologize again for being late. I'll be better about that in the future. But today, PlayStation 5 event, it was amazing. It was fucking amazing. Anyway, thank you for your time this week. Don't forget to like, comment, all that good stuff. Got some surprises for like the real world of the channel coming up. I won't spoil it yet. You'll see real soon though. Anyway, that's the podcast this week. We'll see you next time.